Hello everybody, it's Mr. Zabo. Welcome to day 2 of section 5.3 slope intercept form. Yesterday we spent the day talking about writing your equation in slope intercept form. Remember that's y equals mx plus b. Today we're going to take that form and we're going to graph the actual line. So we're going to work backwards today. So the key is, again, y equals mx plus b, and m is always our slope. It's how we move. It's the amount we move. And then b is our y-intercept. It is always at the y-axis, so our x-coordinate is always 0. Step 1 is going to be to identify those two pieces of information. We will then begin by plotting the y-intercept. It's not why we call it b, but it's nice and handy for help us remember what's the first thing to do, how we begin. We begin by plotting that point. Last, we are going to apply our slope as our movement. Again, not why it's m, but it's handy to remember by using rise over run. Let's take a look at our first example. For number 1, our equation y equals 3x plus 2 is already in slope-intercept form. I want us to recognize that our slope is 3. If I were to write that as a fraction, okay, so if I leave it as just an integer first, I want us to see this two ways. That could be a positive 3 over 1. We'll talk about the second way in a minute. The other piece of information we pull from there is this plus 2 here means b is 2, but that always is on the y-axis, so my x-coordinate for the y-intercept is always at 0, comma, whatever b is. Alright, back up to the steps that we have to take. We've identified the y-intercept and the slope. Now let's plot the y-intercept. I'm going to go onto my graph and plot 0, 2. This is my y-axis. We will always begin on the y-axis. If I was with you right now, I would say, repeat after me. I will always begin on the y-axis. I don't need you to yell that out because the sub will think you're crazy. But 0, 2 is here on my y-axis. I begin by plotting that point. Now I'm going to move. I'm going to do this first, this second. And because 3 is my vertical change, it's a positive. That means I'm going to move up 3 units, but at the same time, my horizontal change is a positive 1. A positive run means I'm going to go to the right 1. So from my beginning point, my y-intercept, I'm going to move 3 up, 1 right, plot a new point. That's a pattern. I want to continue that pattern. 3 up, 1 right, plot a point. I can't go 3 up anymore, so I'm going to stop. That's where I'm going to say, hey, remember this. Remember that I also could look at a positive. This is good things happening to good people. That's why it's positive. The other way we can write that is negative 3 over negative 1. That's still positive. Okay? But negative 3 as a rise means I'm not going up. A negative means I'm going down 3. And a negative 1 for my run isn't right, it's left 1. So from any one of these points, we can see that that actually works as well. If I started here, down 3, left 1, I'm back where I was. Down 3, left 1, I'm back to my y-intercept. But what's nice about it is, I can keep this going now and keep my pattern. Down 3, left 1. Down 3, left 1. Down 3, left 1. Down 3, left 1. I have plotted every possible point that's at integers. Now I'm ready to actually sketch my graph. But I can check this. Up 3, right 1. Down 3, left 1. Up 3, right 1. Up 3, right 1. I can connect all of those following that pattern, or the reverse. Down 3, left 1. I can connect them all. That should always work. I take my straight edge out, and I sketch my line. I put arrows on it, because lines have arrows, segments do not. This is now the graph of y equals 3x plus 2. Let's take a look at number 2. Very similar type problem here, but the slope and the y-intercept are slightly different. Slope here, in this case, is negative 1/3. Well, that's a little bit tricky. Okay, we'll get to that in a second. Y-intercept is a -2. Make sure you pay attention to that negative. So since my y-intercept is -2, I am going to start or plot the point 0, -2. Always 0 as my x coordinate. So I go to 0, -2, and I plot that. That's where I will begin. Now, let's go back and look at that slope. This is a negative slope. That's telling me a number of things. First, that's my indication that my graph, before I get over here, is going to be falling from left to right. It's going to go down. I just don't know how steep. Well, I know how steep. I just got to figure out the exact coordinates to plot that. Next, this is a negative rate. So there's actually two different ways I can look at this slope. Where the 1 is negative, if that's negative, the 3 would have to be positive, because negative divided by positive is negative. But if the 1 was positive, now my 3 has to be negative. I highly encourage you to write both of these out. I think it's going to be really useful and helpful in identifying all the different directions we can go when we're plotting our additional points here. So, -1 is my numerator. That's my rise. It's negative, so it's actually a fall. That's going down 1 unit, but at the same time I have a +3 run. Positive run is to the right 3 units. Go to my beginning point, my y-intercept, down 1, right 3, new point. Down 1, right 3, new point. Down 1, right 3, new point. Down 1, I'm out of room. So now I can stop that. We do want to continue doing that for the entire length of the graph. As many points as we can get to fit there, we want to include. Okay. But I also can look at my other ratio for slope, in which case my 1, my rise, is positive. That means I'm going up 1, but I can only do that if at the same time I am now going a -3 run, or left 3. So from any point, I'm going to start that. I like to go all the way to the end just to double check what I've done already. If I go up 1, left 3, I'm here. Up 1, left 3, I'm good. Up 1, left 3, I'm good. So all of those are good. Now, up 1, left 3, new point. Up 1, left 3, new point. Up 1, left 3. That was 2. There's 3. New point. Now I'm out of room. Down 1, right 3. I'm back. Up 1, left 3. I'm good. There's all of my points. Straight edge comes out. Line and arrows. Y equals -1/3 x minus 2. It matches a slope that is decreasing from left to right. Number 1 was a positive slope here. So that should be a slope that rises left to right. It was. We are real happy. On to number 3, and this one's tricky. Remember, slope-intercept form means y equals mx plus b. Well, there's a big issue here. I don't even have x. Well, there's only one possible thing that can allow that to happen. If this had started out like this, what could have made my x go away? What's that? Yeah, that's what I thought you said. 0! If I have 0x, technically at this point, 0 times x is 0. It goes away. So when we have y equals a constant, we do have a slope of 0. And a slope of 0 has what type of line? That's right, it's horizontal. Horizontal is slope 0. But I do have my constant, my -8, so I still have my y-intercept at -8, or 0, -8. When I plot that point, always on my y-axis, it's -5, -6, -7, -8, and I apply a slope of 0, which is a horizontal line. Rise is none, run is infinite. Any one of these points, I'm going to have a run. So all of those, and I'll get back being consistent in those colors, all of these, my horizontal line, that's the line representing y equals -8. Every ordered pair has a y that's -8. That's the other thing you can always go in and check. This ordered pair here, doesn't matter what your x is, it's -10, your y is -8. We're good. Go here, we're at -4, -8. Well, -8, we're good. You can come over to here, we're at +4, but we're still at -8. Y is -8, that's what we need. Alright, now we've come to the moment of truth here. I want you guys to press pause. And I want you to try both of these examples. These are the last two examples on this video. Unpause when you have finished both of them, and you're going to score and grade yourselves. So here's the first one. Our y-intercept is 0, -8. So we start here. My slope is -2. That's a -2/1 or a 2/-1. So the only way I can go to the right, down to right 1. But I can also go up to left 1, and I can do that for a while all the way up here. Alright, so we could rearrange this. This is y equals 0x plus 5, but we don't need the 0x there because 0 times anything is 0. That's why it's just y equals +5. So it's a horizontal line through 5 on the y-axis. Go ahead and give yourself an honest score here. Did you get them both perfect? If you did, you got 2 out of 2. If you got one of them perfect and the other maybe not so much perfect, it's 1 out of 2. If you got them both wrong, put yourself with a 0. That's okay. There's no harm here. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are moving on to the next video. Once you get this wrapped up, we'll have plenty of practice on graphing soon.